Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready to take a bite out of the competition? Are you looking for ideas to make your business better? Welcome to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet,
sponsored by Apple Capital Group.
At the core of every successful business, you'll find people making a difference. And with each episode of the Core Business Show, we talk with those people, examine those ideas, and explore the strategies that make them special. Now, the host of the Core Business Show, Tim Jacquet.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Core Business Show. I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. Today, I have the pleasure of talking about preventing cyber crime. We have Bruce Andersonv. He is the director of investigation with his company called Cyber Investigation Services. And we're going to talk about cybercrime. He's a cybercrime expert. Bruce, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
I guess to begin with, usually our listeners like to hear a personal view about the person versus reading the bio. So if you don't mind, tell us about yourself.
Okay. Wasn't prepared for that, but my background is that I have over 10 years in law enforcement. I've been trained in cyber forensics, been trained in computer forensics, been trained in ethical hacking, been very involved with internet for several years, and we got involved in this business basically from people getting hammered online and with their businesses and their reputation. And when we started the business, it just kind of took off from there because there's a huge void out there related to cybercrime and cyber defamation.
And basically, what type of issues we're having today with cybercrime? Anything that really stands out that, hey, this is the leading thing that's number one thing is keep happening? Is it credit card theft or reputation bashing? Or
we get, if I had to classify it, and again, there's different issues. There is a lot of reputation bashing in terms of online defamation. While that's not a crime, it is certainly a civil infraction, but it is a very serious one that can put that impacts most people that are within businesses, because it can put a business out within 3 to 6 months of someone that goes under attack there. And we kind of call it cyber terrorism, if you will, and we see a lot of that. Other stuff we see is stalking and harassment. We see a lot of hacking of individual computers. We see a lot of fraud of taking money from fraudulent sites. We see intellectual property theft. We see extortion. We see money laundering. So there's pretty much everything has moved online today. Where it used to be offline is that we have a lot of crimes that are occurring online because it's more cost effective for the criminals to operate, and they can reach much larger groups of people in a short period of time.
What have you seen within law enforcement within the last, since the last 20 years, how things has changed? Of course, we had American Online, who was big in the early 90s and mid-90s, and, people start stalking people, and you have this issue. But today, we're still the Wild Wild West. Anything goes. And how can a person really protect themselves from things like that?
It is tough in lots of ways, but it depends on who you are. And by that I mean is let me classify the types of folks out there, and that will help understand. You've got folks that are just, everyday script kiddie type hackers, and, they're not really a big threat. And, that's kind of how hacking got started years ago is, it was just a big fun, a big aha. And, and you still have that going on, but that's not the dangerous stuff. The stuff that is really going on is coming from organized crime, and organized crime are very good at going and stealing large blocks of data, large blocks of information, of credit cards, and those types of things. And you got to understand, they're in the business to make money. They also are extorting companies. They are also stealing their websites and hijacking their pay-per-clicks. They're doing all kind of fancy stuff online from an organized crime viewpoint. Then the big thing that's going on is coming from state actors, and by state actors being places like China and Russia and folks in Iran and folks around the world. What they're doing is that they are stealing intellectual property, and consequently is that what they're doing is they're going in and getting solid information from companies. And if you think about it, if you've spent a lot of money in research and development and legal fees and marketing costs to try to get a product out to market, and someone can just come in and get into your system and take all that stuff and beat you to market with it, and and not have to do all that and have to pay all that. They're stealing us blind, and that's happening in a very, very large way. And how it impacts everyday businesses is you think, well, God, I'm not a target, but they utilize it if you're doing business with any of these targets that they like. So, for instance, do you have an attorney? Do you have an accountant? Do you have, because they are attacking those very readily. Why? It's because they have a lot of great information about lots of clients that they can then leverage into those clients and steal their information.
Wow. We just had this week, it's coming on a regular basis. We just had the hacking from LinkedIn, and a lot of people personal profiles on there. They passwords, and so many people are going to memorize so many passwords. They're going to probably keep them the same. So if they forget, they don't have to go through all these issues. How can a small business owner, can protect himself or individual protect themselves on things like that? Should you just have every single month have to go through all your websites, keep changing that, or is there a system you can put all your website passwords in, and is that really safe to put something in and just keep changing it every 30 days?
Well, what's difficult, there's so many ways to get to that information. And so, for instance, in a Facebook, they got to that information because they penetrated back in through vulnerabilities of Facebook. So it didn't matter what you did with Facebook, okay? They didn't get it because of something you did. They got it because of something that Facebook did, okay? And the same thing in a lot of websites is there's a lot of websites today that companies are vulnerable. They got the servers hooked up to the website, and they don't realize that people can hack in through that website and do that. And if you happen to be a client of theirs or a subscriber of theirs and those types of things, they're going to get your information. On a personal basis, on your personal computers and your business computers, there's stuff that you can do in terms of securing your router to the right types of encryption keys. And by that is that most people, for instance, in their home routers, if you look at that, they're still set up on WEP encryption, which sounds like a bunch of gobbledygook, but it effectively is that's how most routers come standard issue. And people don't know enough about how to change them. Well, it doesn't matter how big your password is a hacker can get into that in 3-4 minutes. If you change it to other types of encryption like WPA2 PSK, which are all checked things that you can do inside your router, and change it to strong passwords, 24, 25 passwords with uppercase, lowercase, numbers, symbols, that kind of stuff, then they've got to guess those passwords. And even with high-speed guessers, which is called brute force, that becomes more difficult to do. You need to set up where you can monitor logs in your personal computers. You need to set up where you've got a good antivirus. You need to keep your computers patched up. You need to keep your browsers patched up. I utilize, for instance, on Mozilla browser, we utilize a plugin called NoScript, which helps combat people hacking in through your browser side, which is another hack technique of what we call cross-site scripting. And that kind of slows down some of that. But a lot of stuff is just stupid stuff, is that, hey, check out this link, or this is a cool picture, or what have you. And people spoof their way in to you, and you open it up, and next thing you know, you're bit. And if you're in a company, if they bite one computer, then they can get the rest of them. And that's the challenge today, is that you can build all the technical defenses around your system, but at the end of the day, if you do something stupid, it doesn't matter.
Well, some people, they don't really realize what they're doing. They just live in life and, yada, 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 and all of a sudden something happens. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have to worry about just walking out of the house. Now, every time you turn on your computer, you have to worry about someone is trying to steal all your information.
It is a reality of where we live today, unfortunately, is that there's a lot of great things about the internet. There's a lot of great things that does, and our whole business is based on the internet in terms of both advertising and what we do. However, you have to be cautious about how you go about those types of things, and have to understand that it's not how it used to be 10 years ago. It's no longer kiddie stuff. There's people with very sophisticated tools. And by the way, you can buy them online. Some 15-year-old kid in Russia can buy them online and can go control 1 million computers.
Wow. Do you see this happening outside like Russia and China? Or they're our main threats?
From a big scale intellectual property infrastructure that side, yes. From criminal stuff, not so much in China, more so in Russia, but we got a lot of criminal stuff happening right here in the U.S., with people, located in the U.S. that are doing a lot of criminal stuff. So it just depends on the type of cyber crimes that you're really dealing with. But the big national infrastructure stuff, the stuff that keeps the FBI up all night, a lot of that's coming from state actors around the world.
Well, within law enforcement on the local level, we had the biggest thing in the late 90s regarding identity theft, and they finally put some laws on the books to protect individuals from that. Is that still the number one thing of criminals are after? Is to steal your identity, or?
I don't think so. I think it's too easy to steal your information. And so consequently is if I get in and let's say I hack a business and I get 20,000 credit card numbers. I can turn those credit card numbers into real credit cards, use them as cash, and thank you very much. I don't even need to steal your identity, from in that component. So they've kind of removed get the identity in there and go set up a bunch of stuff. They just go straight for the jugular and get the credit cards and spend them, and or sell that information to other people that want to use them.
And it could be in and out within a day before you even realize.
Absolutely.
Okay. We're going to take a station break real quick, and we'll talk a little bit more about your company and the service we provide. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Core Business Show, sponsored by Apple Capital Group. Apple Capital Group in Jacksonville, Florida, is a commercial lender that specializes in asset-based loans, equipment leasing and financing, invoice financing, commercial real estate loans, and asset-based financing in the U.S. and Canada. Apple Capital Group is a direct lender that lends on their private equity investment portfolio. 90% of most loans are decided within 2 hours, and vendor funding within 24 hours after documents are completed, with a one-page application. No slow no's, just a quick decision and a fast yes. To get more information about lending from Apple Capital Group, call 866-611-7457. That's 866-611-7457 to speak with one of our loan specialists. Or visit us right now at applecapitalgroup.com. Welcome back to the Core. Once again, here's Tim Jacquet.
We're talking to Bruce Andersonv, who is a cyber expert. Bruce, kind of tell us about your company. What type of services you offer to companies who want to prevent and also who wants to kind of manage their own security?
Well, there's several things we do at our company. We as a service is that we help a lot of companies that come under reputational attack. And by reputational attack is that someone is really trying to put your company out of business. And we're not just talking about, minor type of stuff, but pretty serious stuff. And in that scenario, we've got a very high success rate of being able to uncover folks that are doing that anonymously and bringing civil charges against them and getting the stuff taken down and et cetera. So we do a lot of that.
Well, real quick, when you talk about what type of things that they do to try to put the company out of business?
Well, if I basically say you're a liar, a cheat, a thief, a crook, that you are a terrible doctor, or your teeth, I came out and I looked ugly and my cosmetic surgery was terrible, or whatever, or you're a pedophile, or all kind of things, that when those things happen is that there are folks that do that in a very serious way that literally lose their business over it if they don't do anything.
Wow. Okay.
And so consequently, it's one thing when you do, and a lot of folks that do this is that they don't stop. Secondly, is we're seeing a lot of other competitors doing it to their competitors, okay, and trying to do it anonymously and hurt their competitors to boost their business. So reputationally. From other stuff, we get involved in cybersecurity and cyber intrusions. So if you've been intruded, we will come in and investigate that and determine how and what and handle those types of things. From a cybersecurity viewpoint, we take an approach, we call it crown jewels, we will come in as a hacking group and come in and take the crown jewels, show you how we did it, and then tell you how to fix it. But we get involved in fraud, money laundering, embezzlement, theft, insider company, type of situations that we get involved with that. Product diversion, counterfeiting, trademark and use, where there's a lot of that going on worldwide, where people are counterfeiting and or stealing other people's trademarks and basically just, setting up their own business, utilizing your capital. And we get involved in forensics, computer forensics, phone forensics. So pretty much if it touches cyber, internet, emails, computers, we deal with it from an investigative viewpoint. Most stuff that we do end up either in civil litigation or criminal.
Okay, 3 points real quick. Dealing with reviews itself, I mean, once they bash you on reviews, I mean, you not only you had to find the person to kind of put a halt to it, but you also got to do a campaign to address it quickly, because reviews usually goes to the top of Google of any search engine. So you guys normally also provide services to take these links down or to go and counteract those particular links to address the issue? Like make
we do.
Say, hey,
these days we work with a top 100 law firm, and we've developed a variety of different strategies. And today, to tackle these types of things, you've got to tackle it strategically, technically. You've got to tackle it legally, and you've got to tackle it investigatively. So we get involved in those types of cases, figure out who's in behind it, trap IP addresses, determine whether or not it's a consortium of people or just individuals, and then we go after that to expose that, figure out what those links are, then legally get them taken down, get injunctions against the people, and wind up suing them for those particular actions. So you can get it all taken down, get it all removed and done. It's not cheap to do that, unfortunately, so it's got to be serious. But for a lot of companies, for instance, in the travel industry, there are, this is huge, where you have other competitors that are basically constantly paying people to put up reviews in order to make their place look better. And so it's big business out there today.
If we're going to embezzlement, if you have control of embezzle money out of your company and put the money what God's unaware, what type of services you can provide to try to help track what those funds are? Or can they get that back if it's overseas?
Yes, assuming how it's been done and who and what and where. I mean, every case is very, very different. I mean, we have folks that work with us that are ex-FBI folks that have been in charge of fraud and money laundering divisions for the FBI. But when you get something where you believe someone is acting out internally, the first thing to do is to try to get the evidence, and it's very difficult to go do that yourself. And so we have the capability of putting wiretaps on computers. We've got the capability of doing forensics on those particular computers. And then once we get enough evidentiary, then legally we start taking the steps to basically start subpoenaing financial records and bank records and follow the money trail. And once you start following the money trail, then you're seeing what types of steps they've taken to hide the assets in different countries. And then we work with mutual assistance agreements and those types of things in order to be able to go after those assets. So you can go after those types of things. It just gets very complicated.
So, if a proactive approach, you really had to be proactive as a company. Put these things in as a preventive method on your computer, so you know exactly what's going on. So if you start suspecting things, you don't have to go from that point on. You already have the trail, and you have a place to go through before you actually address the problem.
Well, let's take hacking, for instance. Okay. Most breaches that occur, and even though, with large companies, and even though they've spent tons of money on technical, security, if you will, that there's lots of folks that still continue to get breached, and most of them are not even aware of it for 6 to 10 months. Okay, that someone's actually been in their computers and doing what they're doing, and the technology today is extremely sophisticated. And so unless you have full-time staff monitoring those logs, monitoring those issues, and the right network security structures internally, and your data locked down in different ways so that it's separated from other aspects, that your computers and information are structured on a need-to-know basis, and a variety of different types of things that you would do for the company, is you've got to take those steps. And even with all that, doesn't necessarily mean you can't be hit. Today, technology is extremely sophisticated, and the bad guys are winning the war right now.
Wow. Any particular cases that really stands out? The worst case that you've run across in certain areas that you would like to share with the audience?
I don't know about a worst case, but here's one that I think everybody could relate with. A couple of corporate executives for large corporations one of the executives, and they're married, one of the executives, a female, and both of them had been stalked for about 2 to 3 years by an unknown person. They didn't have a clue who it was, and by online stalking. A combination of text messages, a combination of emails, combination of websites, and a variety of things. And they didn't know who it was. They'd been to the police, they'd been to the FBI, they'd been to the attorney. Nobody knew how to help them. It then escalated to the point where this person was starting to extort them, and the extortion was that I want to have sex with your wife in front of you in a hotel downtown major city. You're going to watch, and then after I'm done, I want you to pay me $10,000. And if you don't, I'm going to destroy y'all's reputations. And so we get that call.
Wow.
And a day and a half later, we catch him. We set up a sting operation with the local sheriff's office, and he's now in jail.
Wow. Any cases that you've run across that really, that was a real bad case, anything was life-threatening that you run across? Does it get that deep?
We haven't had anything that, their life was immediately threatened there, because typically with that, the police will take over on that. And that kind of thing, they will move on that kind of thing. And that would be the first people that we would contact anyway in that kind of scenario, of a life-threatening scenario. But on the flip side, because of people's reputation being destroyed with personal and private information there, and someone got that information and now started to put it out to all their friends and all their employees and all, these types of things. I mean, we've talked several people out of suicide because of the things that have occurred online.
Wow. Lastly, kind of tell us anything in a nutshell that you want to share about your company. Give us your website and any last comments you'd like to share with the community.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. Our website is cyberinvestigationservices.com. And can say is that if you have a serious internet issue that is impacting your business, impacting your personal life, or if you're concerned about these types of things for your business or your personal life, we would love to chat with you and try to help you, in some way or another. And as far as I can say is enjoy online, just be careful.
Be careful. And what's your contact information, your telephone number there?
Telephone number is, and I don't have that off the top of my head and whatnot because I don't generally take the phone calls. But it's an 866 number. I've got a direct number that I don't want to put out there. Best way is through our site is at www.cyberinvestigationservices.com.
Perfect. Great. I really appreciate that for you coming on the show. You shared a lot of information to us, and hopefully will help a lot of people, and hopefully they're not in those type of situations. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. Again, thank you for listening to the Core Business Show, Cyber Investigation Services. You can go ahead and look online for them, and you can download this episode on iTunes or Blog Talk Radio. Everybody, thank you for listening to this particular episode. Again, I'm Tim Jacquet, your host. And again, if you have any information or want to know about his company, give him a call. Go to his website. And if you have any life-threatening type issues, you always want to get law enforcement to help you out. If not, probably if it's not threatening, then you probably want to contact this company. Again, thank you for listening. Again, that was Bruce Anderson with Cyber Investigation Services. Everybody have a great day and take care.
Thank you for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet. For more information about equipment financing and asset-based loans, visit our website, applecapitalgroup.com. That's applecapitalgroup.com. Or call us at 866-611-7457. We hope you'll join us for our next episode. And remember, you can always get to the core via iTunes. You'll find all our previous episodes there. And thanks again for listening to the Core Business Show with Tim Jacquet.